everybody, welcome to the Homestead. Now, a few videos ago, I showed you how to flesh an animal hide and tan. We're going to go through a series of videos where we tan, flesh, an animal hide and show you how we're going to do that process here on the Homestead. And so, something I've had a lot of experience in dealing with is fleshing animal hides. And I've done this quite a bit over the years, and I've gotten pretty good at it. I would consider myself average. But there are people out there who are really good at it. I'm not one of those, but I consider myself average, and I can produce a pretty good quality pelt. And so what we're going to do with this series is show you some of the pelts I've done. We just showed you how to flesh an animal in the video previous to this one. And if you missed that one, you can go back and see it, or you can click on the link in the description of this video and watch it for yourself. And then we're going to show you in another video coming up shortly after this one on how to start the tanning process for a pelt, an animal hide. And we're going to use the hair-on method, or we're going to try to use the hair-on method. Now, the method that we're going to try, I have never done before. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. I have some animal hides here that we've done in the past, and I've gone through a different process on how to get those hides tanned and complete. And so I want to kind of just walk you through what I've done before and then go through what I'm going to do in the future. And so anyway, I think you're going to enjoy this entire series. I know I'm going to enjoy doing it for you, and it's going to be just one giant experiment, and we're going to see how it all turns out. Okay, so what I have here, this is a beaver hide, a beaver pelt that I've done in the past. Back when I was living in Missouri, I had a creek that I found that had just a giant infestation of beavers. And this creek, I pulled out of one creek 12 beavers in about a distance of a quarter mile. So maybe a quarter mile of creek or less, I pulled out 12 beavers. That is just a giant number. And the evidence was all around this creek showing that the beavers were hard at work and they were tearing up stuff. And they had ringed a couple of big trees. And even the highway department had to be called out to tear down these trees, because if these trees fell in the wrong direction, they were going to take out some power lines. And so a farmer nearby was very happy to see me at one point, because he had a teenage son who used to go out and trap these beavers, but he was a teenager now, and he had no more interest in going out in the woods and doing this sort of thing. So he was very happy to see me pulling out these beavers out of this creek, because they were building dams to flood this field. And beavers can do a lot of damage for farmers and for other people. And in a video coming up soon, in fact, just this next week, I'm going to be going out to another location and setting some traps for another landowner who is having trouble with beavers right now. And so you're going to come along and join me for that. But that's not this video. Either way, this creek that I was at, I pulled out 12 beavers, and this is one of the beavers that I pulled out. This is a small one. This is the smallest of all of the beavers I pulled out. Some of the beavers I pulled out were gigantic, 36, 38-inch round pelts. And so this one was the smallest one, but it was also the prettiest one. This one had it's like this brownish blonde hair. And on the beaver market, on the fur trade market, this would actually be worth the most money because of the type of hairs that it had on there. At least that's what I was told by somebody who buys and sells furs on the market. And so I didn't sell any of these furs. What I was going to do is take all these furs that I collected, and that year I collected a number of pelts. But out of that one creek was 12 pelts, and I was going to have these tanned, which I did, and I was going to make them for a fur coat for my wife. And that never happened. They ended up sitting around for a while after I had them tanned, and I just never got the money to go around and make them into a pelt. But I ended up selling them most of them on eBay for a pretty good price, and so that's probably what other people did. What I ended up doing was taking this pelt to a place called USA Fox Furs. USA Fox Furs is a company that will take the furs that you trap, that you flesh, and you dry out, and they'll take those untanned furs and they will make them into whatever you want them to be. If you want a coat, they'll make them into a coat. If you want a rug, they'll make them into a rug. You want a hat, they'll make them into a hat. And so you provide the furs, and they take the tanning process to its final completion, and then they process those furs into whatever you want them to be. And so what I wanted them to do is just tan the furs and send them back. And so that's what I had them do. And they do a really good process, a really fine process. The leather is very soft and supple, and the fur is just amazingly soft and luxurious. It was a great experience with them, and I recommend USA Fox Furs. If you can, go online, find them on Google, and look at some of the products and what they can do for you if you are interested in trapping furs yourself. What I have underneath here is a sheep hide that I had done about a year and a half ago or so, and I fleshed this hide myself. I fleshed this with the fleshing beam that you saw in the video previous, and it turned out great, absolutely wonderful. We also sent this pelt into USA Fox Furs, and they did just a magnificent job on it, and turned out really good. It's a very large pelt, sheep pelt. The breed was a Shropshire breed. It's a very large breed of sheep, and so the pelt is very large. And this was a male 1-year-old ram, and he was just turned out great. Just a big, gigantic pelt, and so turned out really good. Leather is just perfect on the inside, and it's very soft and supple, and just turned out really well. So USA Fox and Furs, I highly recommend them. If you want to look them up online, go ahead and do so. And so what we're going to do different this time, though, however, from that pelt and these pelts, we're going to go ahead and tan our own. And so we have the ability here to go ahead and do that. We're going to do what's called oak tanning. And we're going to take bark from oak trees. We're going to use the tannin that is found inside the bark of those oak trees, and we're going to use that to tan the hides of our animals from now on. And that's going to include deer hides and as well as the sheep hides that we process here on the homestead. And then we can take those hides and put them on the market for either you to buy, or we can use them for things around here. We can utilize that animal to the utmost for some reason. Somehow we'll use that animal to the best of our ability. And so what I want to encourage you to do is look up some information on tanning. If you're interested in tanning, especially doing your own tanning or sending off or getting into trapping or getting into processing furs yourself, here's what I would recommend you do. If you're interested in setting up your own fleshing system, the best place for you to learn any of this, any aspect of this, is to find in your state what are called rendezvous. Rendezvous are places where you can go once or twice a year in your state, where people who trap or who process furs, who buy and sell on the fur market, will get together, and then they will share skills, and they will teach classes, and they will share information that you can glean and learn how to do all of this yourself. And that's how I got started. I found somebody who went to these events, and I basically found out that he was willing to teach me, and I basically stood under his tutelage for about a year, a whole season's worth, so I could see all of the ins and outs of trapping, and I learned an awful lot. And so if you're interested in this, just go to Google your state and the word rendezvous. And I guarantee you'll find information on where you can go and learn all these skills yourself. And there are people who go to these events who are more than willing to teach you and train you, and even sell you DVDs and books and things like that, so you can learn even more. But try to find a trapper who's open and willing to share some of his experience with you and take you under his wing and give you that care of learning the skills firsthand. All right, we're going to leave it at that. Stay tuned for our next video, because we're going to head out in the woods and we're going to start collecting this oak so we can get our oak tanning for the hide that you saw in a previous video underway. All right, I'll see you next time on the Homestead. If you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button below the video. It really makes creating these videos worthwhile. If you want to make sure to never miss a new video, be sure to click the subscribe button. Now you can get your homesteading questions answered. Visit us at our contact page on AnAmericanHomestead.com and send us your questions. Maybe we'll pick your question for a future video or article on our website.